UFC 304 Edwards versus Muhammad 2. I'm going to be predicting every single fight on this Manchester pay-per-view. We got the champion Leon Edwards taking on Belal in the main event. Aspinall versus Blades and a lot of other fun fights. But one notably very good fight and high-ranking fight in Mokaev and Manel Kape has been moved to the prelims of this UFC pay-per-view. I had to point that out before we get into this. And then, of course, we had the two short-notice fights of Shauna, Bannon, and Elise Ardelean, as well as Caolan, Loughran, and Jake Hadley. Again, I'm hoping I'm saying that name correctly, but it is very, very interesting that we are getting these just random new fights on this UFC 304 card. So yeah, the predictions are coming in 3, 2, 1. Let's get into the light heavyweight division. Modestas, Bukauskas, and Marcin Prachnio at 205 pounds. And I'm going to first off point out, Modestas Bukauskas is a heavy favorite for the fans to predict him to win. He is at 80%, which in betting odds terms is minus 400. On the actual betting odds, he is only at minus 150. So money-wise, he is a very, very slight favorite in this fight. And personally, I have it as a pick'em. I have this one as literally you can flip a coin and it could go either way, because Marcin Prachnio throws a lot more volume, I would say, than Modestas Bukauskas. He throws a lot more kicks than Modestas Bukauskas. Maybe on the punches side, Modestas is a little bit better at that. But when it comes to the actual kicks and the knees and the teeps and the leg kicks and things like that, Marcin Prachnio is a lot better. And if you're looking at matchups where Marcin Prachnio does lose inside of the UFC, well, it's the guys that have a lot of power able to knock him out. Let's say Alvi, Magomed Ankalaev, Mike Rodriguez, or it's to grapplers like Felipe Lins and Vitor Petrino. I know you're going to say Vitor Petrino is not a grappler. Well, that's how he won the fight. He took the fight down, he grinded it out, and he got that submission win. When he goes against guys that maybe don't have that power to knock him out, and he, or they just don't have the ability to land with that power, like a Khalil Roundtree, which is a really well-aging win, he's able to just outstrike them for 3 rounds. And I don't believe Modestas Bukauskas is really going to be a guy going in there with a lot of power. I don't actually remember the last time he's gotten a knockout win inside of the UFC. It was his debut fight all the way back in 2024 years ago. Of course, you know, he's got 9 knockouts on his record. He's got a few knockout wins, but against high-level competition, he's not able to land on that mark and put away his opponent. And I know what you're going to say, Marcin Prachnio is 36 years old. Well, even at 36 years old, he's able to still outstrike guys for 3 rounds, stay on the outside, use his kicks at range, and do very good with them. I think Modestas, again, is going to land more shots to the face of Marcin Prachnio, and that's why this is going to be a very close fight, in my opinion, when it does go to those judges' scorecards. But I think Marcin is just going to land an overwhelmingly more amount of kicks than Modestas Bukauskas here, and I think the judges are going to be going either way here, and I'm predicting a split decision with Marcin Prachnio coming on and getting the victory here. He's my first underdog of the card in the first fight of the card. I was saying that one a little bit incorrectly. Marcin by split decision. Short notice, Shauna Bannon versus Elise Ardelean. If you're wondering who Elise is, she just got signed to the UFC randomly because Ravena Oliveira, Shauna Bannon's original opponent, pulled out due to unknown reasons. Elise Ardelean is you know, she's not the most active fighter, I will say. She's very active on the social medias. I'll leave it at that. But in terms of MMA, she fought twice in 2023. She hasn't fought once yet in 2024. Had 1 fight in 22, 1 fight in 21, no fights in 2020, a few exhibitions in 2019, none in 2018, 1 in 2017, and then got submitted by Weili Zhang before that, which is crazy. That is the last person to beat her, but she's not very active. I don't know what the reason why she is not fighting that often, but when she does fight, you might be wondering who she is. She's one of those like only bands I'm not going to say it on YouTube. I don't know if it'll demonetize this, but she's one of those type of people. And I don't necessarily believe she's got her full focus in on martial arts and competing to be the best MMA fighter that she possibly can be. She is smaller than Shauna Bannon. She's not as lengthy as Shauna Bannon, but I think she's a live dog. The reason being, I've watched a few of her fights. She has a little bit of power. She does have a little bit of power, and she comes forward. That's one thing for female MMA the judges love for you to do. If the strikes are really, really even, but you're coming forward, you're putting on that pressure, the judges usually give females the win if they're actually being aggressive and coming forward and landing shots. And if it's a close fight, they'll give it to that girl. But I do believe because of that height, because of that reach, Shauna Bannon is just going to be kicking at range. She's going to be countering Elise Ardelean when she comes in. And I'm going to go Shauna Bannon by decision here. Again, I actually think it's going to be close. Maybe a 29-28 for Shauna Bannon. I don't think it's going to be a domination like a lot of people are saying, with 88% going Shauna Bannon to win. But I am going to go Shauna. I'm curious to see what the odds are in here, because I think they just got announced. Yeah, minus 205 for Shauna Bannon. She was at minus 200 at one point. Makes sense for at least coming in on this short of notice to be that much of an underdog. I'm not surprised at all. But that is my prediction. Shauna Bannon, I'm going to go 29-28 decision. Just playing the counter-punching game. I do not expect a crazy amount of wrestling or grappling, if any, in this fight. I hope I'm not wrong there, to be honest. But I do have Shauna Bannon by a unanimous decision. Sam Patterson and Kiefer Crosbie in the welterweight division. Now, first thing we have to bring up is the betting odds. I know if you're betting on this fight and you're looking at minus 350 for Sam Patterson, and you're about to put Sam Patterson in a parlay because, oh, he's one of the biggest favorites on the card, he should surely win, right? Wrong. Sam Patterson is very, very tall. 6'3" in height, 78 inches in reach, has that chin up in the air a little bit. And he has been knocked out before, and recently pretty badly, by Yanal Ashmuz. The other time he lost back in 2017, again, a round 1 knockout loss to Hadrip Rai over there in Brave CF. So the reason I'm going to go out there and just say immediately right off the bat, this is not a domination from Sam Patterson, is because Kiefer Crosbie is a KO guy. He's got 5 knockout wins. He knocked out Alex Oliveira, a longtime UFC veteran, in round 1, another round 1 knockout win, and plenty of other round 1 knockout wins on his record. He's got a lot of power, and I think if he goes out there with the game plan is just let his hands go, defend takedowns, and just throw bombs and make this a gritty, dirty war where he's slanging and banging, I do actually believe Kiefer Crosbie has a very, very good shot of winning this fight. So I would say Kiefer Crosbie probably has a better chance to finish Sam Patterson than Sam has to finish Kiefer Crosbie, just when it comes to KOs. If we're talking submissions, I would definitely say Sam Patterson has the advantage in that realm. He's good at landing as you're coming in, mixing in the takedowns, getting your back, and rear nakeding you. So I think it's going to go one of two ways. Kiefer catches them early on in round number 1, knocks out Sam Patterson, or Sam Patterson's able to catch him coming in round number 2 after a close round 1, and he's able to get the back of Kiefer Crosbie and submit him. I think it's going to be one of those two outcomes here. In the UFC's welterweight division, Sam Patterson is going to be the actual prediction. I got him by round 2 submission. Oban Elliot and Preston Parsons at 170 pounds. They're both young. They're both under 30 years old at 29 and 26 years old. Oban Elliot is undefeated in the UFC at 1-0. Preston is 2-2 in the UFC, only losing a short notice fight to Daniel Rodriguez in his debut. And then what a lot of people like to say is a robbery to Trevin Giles. A lot of people thought he won that fight. So he theoretically could be 3-1 in the UFC's welterweight division, again, with the only real loss being to Daniel D-Rod Rodriguez, who currently is ranked. Where is D-Rod? I thought he was a lot higher than this. Did I pass him already? Or because the last fight was in the middleweight division, right? But I would definitely have Preston Parsons around that 30th range in the UFC's welterweight division. He is at 46 on Tapology. I'd have him around 35 in the welterweight division because I thought he won against Trevin Giles. Matthew Semmelsberger, that win was really, really good because he was able to out-wrestle Matthew Semmelsberger and even outstrike him as well. And this is a guy that went out there and beat Jake Matthews very, very impressively. That's a good, solid win, and he was able to make it look pretty easy against Matthew Semmelsberger. And I think this fight right here against Oban Elliot is a big step down from everybody that Preston Parsons has fought. D-Rod, way harder fight than Oban Elliot. Trevin Giles, way, way harder, and I thought he won. Matthew Semmelsberger, I believe, is a harder fight than Oban Elliot. And even Evan Elder, who's a lightweight that came up on to the welterweight division on short notice, I believe that is a harder fight than Oban Elliot. I think Preston Parsons is going to be better everywhere. Striking-wise, I think he is going to be slightly better, landing more volume, and I think he kind of has a little bit more power and pop in his shot than Oban Elliot. And when it comes to grappling, when it comes to wrestling, I think he's going to put on the pace. I think, like his nickname suggests, he's going to put on that pressure, and I think there's a good shot he could go out there and finish Oban Elliot. When Oban has lost, it has been by knockout here, so I think we could possibly see the first submission loss in Oban Elliott's career here. Preston Parsons does have 9 submission wins on his MMA record, so that's what I'm going to go with. Either a round 3 submission win from Preston Parsons or Oban Elliott's just able to just push through and lose a decision here. But I do think Preston wins every single round. Round 1, I think it's going to be the closest round of the bunch, and then round 2 and round 3, I think, are going to be very, very clear for Preston Parsons. The prediction's a decision, but again, I would not be surprised if we see maybe a late submission win for Preston Parsons in this fight. Mick Parkin and Lukasz Brzeski in the heavyweight division. First thing is first, size. I know what your girlfriend says. Oh, size doesn't matter, sweetie. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And Mick Parkin is the bigger fighter here over Lukasz Brzeski. He's about 30 pounds heavier, and he mainly likes to keep it on the feet. He's got good takedown defense. He's good in the clinch as well. And I think Lukasz Brzeski is the type of guy that, you know, he's going to want to land some big shots on the feet and mix in that clinching, mix in that wrestling, and try to wear on a lot of his opponents like we saw in his last one with Walter Walker. I don't think you could do that with Mick Parkin. I don't think he's a guy that you're going to go out there and out-clinch him, out-wrestle him, and out-grapple him, because Mick is very good when it comes to defending the grappling and wrestling onslaughts of his opponents. They're the similar height there, similar reach and everything, but again, he's much bigger. He hits with similar power to Lukasz Brzeski, even though they are having the same, they are having such a different size going into this fight, because Lukasz doesn't cut any weight. He probably needs to gain weight going into a lot of these heavyweight fights, but I think Mick is better everywhere. Lukasz, again, like I said, a lot of his game plan relies on wearing on his opponents in the clinch and out-wrestling them. I think Mick Parkin could honestly do that to Lukasz in this fight. I think Mick is going to have a lot of success at range when Lukasz is coming in and landing jabs and 1-2s and landing kicks at range and things like that. And I think if there is those clinch situations, I don't think it's going to go to the ground. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I don't think it's going to go to the ground, but I think in those clinch positions with Mick's size and sheer strength over Lukasz Brzeski, I think he has the advantage there as well. So I think Mick is going to be better at range in the striking, and he's going to be better when it comes to those clinch positions. So I think this is a very clear one. I don't know how Mick Parkin is only at minus 200. I would have thought money would be rolling in. Okay, it is. It is. I changed my mind. It's already at minus 300. So that's exactly what I would have expected. I do have Mick Parkin pretty much controlling wherever this fight goes. Again, I don't think Lukasz can take it to where he wants to go on the ground, and I think even if he does, Mick has the advantage in those areas as well. He's the best, in my opinion, heavyweight fighter outside of that top 15, maybe besides Waldo Cortez Acosta, but I really like him as a prospect in that heavyweight division. Mick Parkin, 30-27. Another short notice fight for UFC 304. Caolan Loughran taking on Jake Hadley again. I'm sorry if I'm saying that name incorrectly. I'm a stupid American, but it's a good fight. It's two former Cage Warriors champions. Of course, Caolan was in the bantamweight division while Jake was in the flyweight division, and they were ruling their divisions in Cage Warriors simultaneously, and now they're going to be fighting. And I've been watching interviews from Caolan, and he was really, really surprised when he heard the name named Jake Hadley because, of course, Jake is a flyweight. He was expecting totally different opponent than Jake Hadley. Jake was not in his mind at all on a potential opponent, but I love the fact that they made this fight, especially in Manchester, England, between two former Cage Warriors champions. I think this is a better fight than Ramon Tavares versus Caolan Loughran. I'd like Ramon versus another striker because I think stylistically that just would be better. Jake versus Caolan, on the other hand, I think stylistically is going to be really, really fun as well. I do think they're both kind of looking to go out there and wrestle and grapple. Usually, Jake Hadley tried to do that with no success against Charles Johnson. He was able to defend his takedowns and outstrike him on the feet. Cody Durden, he actually did get it to the ground at a few times and hyperextended Cody Durden's arm. So we know if Jake Hadley does get it to the ground, he is very, very dangerous when he does get it there. But when he's getting pressured on the feet, he doesn't like it. I mean, he was eating a lot of shots in the Charles Johnson fight and eating a lot of... I just said that. Eating a lot of shots in the Charles Johnson fight and just shooting takedowns as much as he could. When he's not able to get the takedowns and he's going against a better striker than him that's pressuring forward, Jake Hadley just doesn't have many answers when it comes to that. Again, when he does get it to the ground, he's very good with the submission attempts, triangle chokes, arm bars, and a lot of the things that are trying to put his opponents to sleep. Not going to do that against Caolan Loughran. He's not going to submit Caolan Loughran. He's only lost to Taylor Lapalus, a guy that was able to defend his takedowns and outstrike him on the feet. I don't actually think Jake Hadley's going to defend the takedowns of Caolan Loughran for the most part here. I think they're going to keep it really, really even when it comes to the striking, with a very technical back and forth striking match for a little bit. Then they're going to get a little bit more dirty as the fight goes on when it comes to getting in that inside and boxing in the phone booth a little bit. But I think the later and later the fight goes, Caolan is going to realize, well, if I just mix in a takedown every now and then, in each and every one of these rounds, with my size advantage, with my strength advantage, and I'm able to get it to the ground, land a few ground and pound shots, and just defend those submissions from Jake Hadley from that bottom position, I should win the fight. I think that's a great game plan for Caolan. Keep it really, really even. Put on that pressure on Jake Hadley. Let him work. Again, he's taking the fight on short notice. We don't know where his cardio is going to be at. So make Jake Hadley work here. Put on that pressure. Put him on that volume, and when he least expects it, when he's moving away and his back is to the cage, mix in that takedown, a little bit of ground and pound, and I think that could very well secure the win for Loughran. 90% is insane for Tapology. These picks are insane on Tapology, but that is the pick. I do have Caolan by decision. Jake is a very hard guy to finish. I think he's never been finished, right? So it was just the Alan Nascimento, Cody Durden, and Charles Johnson ones. He's very tough. He loves to go out there and shoot those submissions from bottom. He loves a good knockout like we saw in the Malcolm Gordon fight, but I believe both guys are really, really hard guys to finish. Neither have ever been knocked out. Neither have ever been submitted. I actually expect this to be very, very fun in the striking and on the ground. Jake always makes it fun with his submission attempts, so expect a fun one in the bantamweight division. I got Loughran by unanimous decision. Molly McCann and Bruna Brasil at 155 pounds. I'm going to be straight up with you guys. These odds are crazy. Plus 240 for Bruna Brasil, minus 300 for Molly McCann. That is craziness, in my opinion. I'll be straight up with you. I got Molly McCann by a 29-28 split decision. I'm gonna be straight up and give you my prediction. But I just have to say, Bruna is honestly the better technical striker. She is taller, she is lengthier, and she could very well counter Molly McCann as she does come in with jabs, with 1-2s, with the leg kicks and body kicks at range, and just win a 29-28 close back and forth striking decision. Very, very possible from Bruna Brasil. And again, I don't know what's up with these odds. She's taller, she's lengthier, and she's the more technical striker. And one thing I guess you have to give to Molly McCann, and the one reason why I have Molly McCann winning first, it's in her home area. It's in England. The judges are probably going to be more favorable to Molly McCann. The crowd is going to be a lot more favorable to Molly. Everything Molly lands, she's going to get cheers for. Everything Bruna lands, there's going to be chirps in the air and crickets in the air and things like that. So again, the reason I'm going to go Molly McCann, I just gave you my rationale on why these odds are atrocious and why Bruna has a very good shot of winning. The reason I do actually have Molly winning is she puts on pressure. She comes forward, she bites on that mouthpiece, and she just comes forward pumping out punches and pumping out the spinning back fist and pumping out volume and pressure towards her opponent. And Bruna, she's been known for, especially in that last fight with Loma Lookboonmee, I don't think she was throwing much in that fight. The Denise Gomez fight, the reason she got hit with that right hook is she's not throwing enough back at Denise Gomez. If Molly goes out there a little bit timid and she doesn't put on the pressure, oh my gosh, it's a clear win for Bruna Brasil. But that's just Molly McCann's style, that she's going to go out there and put on that pressure. So I think if Bruna's able to have really good movement here, and she is going to go out there and throw volume against Molly McCann, she wins. It really comes down to, does Bruna throw the volume in the counters? Does Molly put on a great pace and come forward and put on that pressure? Split decision, guys. This is one. Gonna go either way. I got Molly the meatball. It's not the meatball, but Molly Meatball McCann. That's the prediction. Molly by unanimous. Just kidding. Split decision. There's no way. It's going to be unanimous. Very close fight. Nathaniel Wood and Daniel Pineda in the UFC's featherweight division. Obviously, this is a veteran versus a guy in his prime, still coming up in the rankings and coming off a weird loss. I'm gonna bring that up as fast as I can because he should be 8-2 in the UFC's featherweight division because my guy Muhammad Mokaev was cheating a lot in that fight, grabbing gloves, grabbing the fence, and a few other things I'm probably not even mentioning right now, but there was a lot of cheating in that fight with Muhammad Naimov. So personally, I think he should be on a 4-fight win streak in the UFC with 3 of those, I believe. I don't know if the Charles Rosa one was in the featherweight division. They're all in the featherweight division, so he should really be 4-0 in the UFC's featherweight division, and he should probably be getting a top 15 opponent, but of course, the referee and the judge did nothing about all of those fouls and things like that, which I think would have played a huge difference, and I think he would have won the fight had those fouls not been committed. But enough of that. Let's talk about Daniel Pineda a little bit. He's almost 39 years old. He's taller by like barely, pretty much similar reach right there, but he's kill or be killed. That's one thing we really have to go out there and mention before any Daniel Pineda fight. He's 5-6 in the UFC, and his only last fight was the one to go to a decision. I mean, the dude has never won a decision, and I don't think he's gotten any decisions besides that Alex Caceres one inside of the UFC. Let's see. Yeah, it was a long time ago, back in 2014. But this dude does not like to go to those judges' scorecards. He's got 19 submission wins, 6 submission losses. He's got 9 knockout wins and 3 knockout losses. I think this is one that's going to be a knockout. I don't think it's going to be a knockout, per se, where he goes out cold. And I do believe it is going to be a TKO due to him getting hurt on the feet and ground and pounded. But I don't think it's going to be early on because Daniel is much more dangerous than Nathaniel Wood in those early rounds. So I think Daniel's able to go out there, hurt Nathaniel Wood maybe a little bit on the feet, get a takedown, get close to a submission on Nathaniel. Everyone's going to be like, oh my God, the minus 500 favorite in Nathaniel Wood, the biggest favorite of the card's about to lose. Then Daniel's going to start to fade a little bit. I think because he goes so hard going for those finishes early on in his fights, I think he'll win round 1, but round 2, Nathaniel, the prospect, is going to come out really just coming forward on Daniel Pineda. Daniel gets slower. Daniel gets more sloppy, and I think Nathaniel's going to mix in a takedown or 2, ground and pound a little bit. Daniel will get up, and then I think Nathaniel's going to land a good shot on Daniel Pineda on the feet, get a knockdown, get a lot of ground and pound landed on Daniel Pineda, and I do believe we do have a round 2 ground and pound TKO for Nathaniel Wood in this fight. I think Daniel's always dangerous on the ground, so don't be shocked if he's going for that ground and pound TKO and gets submitted from something on bottom. But I am going to go Nathaniel Wood to get that ground and pound TKO. Let's go round 2. Let's go 2 minutes left. Let's be specific. 2 minutes left in round number 2. Muhammad Mokaev and Manel Kape at 125 pounds It's on the prelims. I'm going to bring that up immediately. That's craziness in the flyweight division, as this is technically a title eliminator matchup where the winner could very well see themselves fighting Alessandro Pantoja by the end of the year or early next year. Manel Kape's on a 4-fight win streak since losing to Nicolau in what I believe to be a robbery. His only other loss was to Alessandro Pantoja, the champion in the UFC flyweight division, but he got a knockout after that, another knockout on Zhalga Zhumagulov, was able to beat David Dvorak and then go out there and have a very fun fight with Felipe Dos Santos. But the reason we haven't seen him fight in 10 months, he's had 2 cancellations since then. He was supposed to fight Mateusz Nicolau. He missed weight very badly. Nicolau said, no, if you're going to miss weight that badly, we're not fighting. Then, supposed to fight Nicolau again, I believe in the main event of that UFC fight night, and what does Manel do? He pulls out of that fight as well, and hopefully he doesn't pull out again, because there has been so many cancellations on the Manel Kape side. Now he's going to be fighting Mohamed Mokaev in Manchester. And Mohamed Mokaev is obviously from and fighting out of Manchester, England. He's 23 years old, almost 24, probably after this fight, like a day or two later. He's taller, he's lengthier than Manel Kape. He's a better wrestler, a better grappler, better jiu-jitsu, better cardio. So it's so close. And I think 50-50 is predictions on here, right? 62% Mokaev, 38% Kape. It is just such a close fight. I am going to go Mohamed Mokaev to lose. It's such a hard prediction to make. It's at flyweight. It is going to come down to, can Mokaev get those takedowns and keep him there? So it's a signature striker versus grappler matchup. If Manel defends, he'll outstrike Mokaev. If Mokaev lands the takedowns, well, obviously he's going to out-grapple and out-wrestle Manel Kape in this fight. So it's one of those that literally it's going to come down to, can Mokaev consistently get the takedowns? Or can Manel consistently defend, or at least get up from a lot of the takedowns and land punches and land shots to the side of the head as Mokaev is going for the takedowns? And I think that's going to be the case. I think Mokaev, if he's able to not get hit as he's going in for the takedowns and is able to maybe go for a few submission attempts, laying good ground and pound on the ground, I'm surely gonna think Mokaev should win this fight. But I think Manel's get-up game will be good here, and I think when he is getting taken down by Mokaev, I think he's going to actually land good punches on Mohamed Mokaev as he's coming in for those takedowns. It's not an easy fight to predict by any means. I would not be shocked at all, not one bit, if Mokaev's able to go out there, get those takedowns, and maybe even submit Manel Kape in this fight. But I think Manel Kape will do enough here. I'm rooting, surprisingly enough, I'm going to be rooting for Mohamed Mokaev to win this one. He's going to be 12-0 here. I'm hoping he's able to either get those takedowns and actually land good ground and pound and possibly get a submission. I just personally think Manel is going to stay away from those submission attempts and is going to land punches as Mokaev is coming in for those takedowns. So close to one at 125. I got Manel Kape by a close decision. Arnold Allen and Giga Chikadze at 145 pounds. The age advantage right off the bat, I don't know what my computer is doing, is going to be going towards Arnold Allen. He's in the prime of his MMA career at 30 years old. He's 5'8" tall, 70-inch reach, and his only loss to Max Holloway and Movsar Evloev in the UFC. He's one of the better strikers in the featherweight division, but also Giga Chikadze is one of the better strikers in this featherweight division. I'm going to go round 1, Giga Chikadze, round 3, Arnold Allen. I think this one is going to come down to round number 2 in what will be 3 rounds of very, very close striking, but not entirely. I think Arnold Allen will be smart here, will mix in some clinching, will mix in a little bit of making this boring, and a few takedown attempts here. And I think that's going to be a huge, huge factor. He's a lot better than Giga. Giga's cardio, when you mix in wrestling and grappling, goes downhill fast. So I think if Arnold goes out there with the game plan to keep it really technical on the feet and mix in some good power punches as well on Giga Chikadze, and mix in some takedowns and mix in some clinching scenarios and wear on that gas tank of Giga early on in this fight, I think he should win those later rounds. So my official prediction here is going to be Arnold to lose round 1 to Giga, who's just going to outstrike him a little bit. And I think Arnold in round 1 is going to play towards making the gas tank of Giga gas out really early by making those clinch positions happen in round number 1, doing the same in round number 2. Giga's going to get slower. Arnold's going to be laying in bigger shots, and I think he does the same in round 3. I got him losing round 1, winning round 2, and round 3, and what will be a very close fight. At 145 pounds, Giga, very big for the division, 6 foot tall, and 74-inch reach. It's either he's very big or Arnold's very small for the division, so should be fun. Very good striking matchup, but I think there will be some mixed in grappling. I got Arnold by, let's go, am I going to go unanimous or am I going to go split? I'm going to go unanimous, 29-28 for Arnold Allen. Christian Leroy Duncan and Gregory Rodriguez, short notice fight in the middleweight division, and it's a 50-50 one. According to the betting odds, this one could literally go either way, and I'm going to check again. Christian Leroy Duncan is now a pretty sizable favorite at -142 and -145 on the betting odds right there, so they are going for their hometown guy to win this fight. He is taller than Gregory Rodriguez. He's a little bit younger than Gregory Rodriguez, and he has been doing very well in the UFC. Was able to beat Dusko Todorovic by TKO in his debut, knock out Dennis Chiellinin, and knock out Claudio Ribeiro. So 3 wins in the UFC, 3 knockouts in the UFC. Very impressive. His only loss to Armen Petrosyan, a guy, well, Gregory Rodriguez has also lost to in the UFC's middleweight division. He lost by split decision. But if you do know anything about a guy like Gregory Rodriguez, he's also going out there trying to get the knockout. He's 6-2 in the UFC. His last 2 wins, both by knockout. His other 2 wins when he was on that 2-fight losing streak, both by knockout. Got a knockout win on Junyon Park as well, which is very legit. And his only decision was against Dusko Todorovic in his debut. So my guy has not won a decision since 2021. 3 years straight of only winning knockouts. Same pretty much could be said for Christian Leroy Duncan. So I think this is going to be, for the most part, a striking fight. And I think that's what Christian Leroy Duncan wants, is of course a good striking fight, a good Muay Thai battle, a kickboxing battle. But Gregory Rodriguez, one thing, if you don't know now, you'll know, Dana White, is Gregory's got a great judo background. I think he'll lose round 1 due to Christian just keeping at range, using that height and length to land on Gregory at range and have him come in and eat punches. But I think in round number 2, Gregory's pressure and volume is going to come in on Christian Leroy Duncan, where Gregory's just going to land some big shots, and that gets the guard up really high to defend the big shots of Gregory, because we know Gregory has that power, and I think that's where Gregory's going to decide, well, Christian Leroy Duncan hasn't been against a guy that can go as hard as I can. He hasn't been against the guy that's going to mix in the grappling and the wrestling as much as I can. And when Gregory gets the takedown and when he's able to get top position on his opponents, my gosh, Gregory Rodriguez is dangerous. If he gets on top of you, he's elbowing you, he's ground and pounding you, he is cutting you open, and he's probably going to finish you. I don't think he'll finish Christian Leroy Duncan here, but I think he loses round 1 in what will be technical striking. Round 2, he's going to really put a pace on, really put that pressure on the newcomer in Christian Leroy Duncan. I think it's going to hurt him on the feet, mix in a takedown. It's going to be a pretty dominant round number 2. And I think round 3 is just going to be an all-out war, where Gregory's coming forward. Christian wobbles Gregory. Gregory wobbles Christian Leroy Duncan, and takedowns are mixed in. Ground and pound from Gregory. And I think it goes 29-28 in the side of Gregory Rodriguez. It's going to be very close, in my opinion. Again, a lot of people are saying, oh, it's short notice for Gregory. Maybe he's not going to have the gas tank. He was training to fight on July 13th, which is 2 weeks before this fight with Christian Leroy Duncan. Gregory was supposed to fight Antonio Tricoli before Antonio Tricoli got moved to UFC UFC Saudi Arabia to fight Shara Bullet Magomedov. So he's had a training camp. He's been training. He's been getting better. He's been improving. And I think he'll use that to win this fight. I think this is going to be the one. I just went out and showed you he's got so many knockout wins, only a decision win 3 or 4 years ago, but I think this is going to be the one that goes all the way and is really going to be that proving fight for Leroy Duncan. If Leroy is able to win this one, he is a middleweight contender at that point, and he'd probably deserve maybe a fight inside of that top 15 or maybe one more, but If you beat a guy like Gregory, you are close to that top 15. This is going to be such a close one. A lot of motivation from Christian, fighting a much better opponent than he was originally scheduled to fight. It should be really, really fun. And again, I'm going to look at the entire card really quickly before I end this video. And just see, because I think this could be fight of the night. If it does go the way I'm saying it could go, and go the full 3 rounds, I think this is a very, very likely 3-round fight of the night type of fight between Christian Leroy Duncan and Gregory Rodriguez. And I don't know. I don't know. The Tom Aspinall fight's probably going to end early. Leon Bilal is not going to be fun at all, in my opinion. Bobby Patty, Arnold Giga, Mokaev. Yeah, this is my fight of the night, ladies and gentlemen. Christian Leroy Duncan, Gregory Rodriguez, 50K bonus for both, and a Gregory Rodriguez 29-28 decision. I can't wait. Bobby Green and Paddy Pimblett in the lightweight division. I am going to go with Paddy Pimblett to win. As the underdog here, ladies and gentlemen, I've been going back and forth on this one a lot. Originally, I was fairly gun-ho about going Bobby Green to win this fight. But the more and more I'm thinking about it, Bobby Green's chin is deteriorating. He's 37 years old. He was wobbled in his fight against Jim Miller, the last one they had at UFC 300. He was actually hurt by Jim Miller in that fight. And if Jim Miller can hurt you, I know he has got a solid amount of power. What's saying Paddy can't hurt him on the feet as well? And of course, that came directly after, 4 months after, he got knocked out horrifically by Jalen Turner in that fight. So, I mean, that was a horrible stoppage. I just have to say that immediately. That was a horrible, horrible stoppage in the Jalen Turner one. And he took a lot of unnecessary, life-changing damage in that fight. So I don't think Bobby Green's chin is ever going to be the same after that fight. If I'm being quite honest with you, again, he got wobbled by Jim Miller. That kind of proves his chin is going a little bit downhill there. And I know what you're going to say. Paddy's chin, also a little bit iffy. His chin way up in the air and things like that. So the only thing I'm bringing that up for is both of them can be rocked. Both of them can be hurt on the feet. And I think it's pretty equal. I think Bobby could definitely get hurt by Paddy. Bobby could definitely hurt Paddy. I know both guys are not known for their knockouts. They're not known for going out there and getting the finish. Bobby is more known for outstriking you for 3 rounds and getting that decision. And Paddy's more known for grappling you, taking you down, getting you back, and submitting you after a rough early round 1. So I think round 1, like usual, the Paddy Pimblett treatment, Paddy's probably going to get hurt a little bit by Bobby Green in round number 1, outstruck, and I think he'll land a takedown towards the end of the round and lose round 1 on the judges' scorecards. Round 2 comes. I think Paddy's going to strike with Bobby for a good minute and then mix in a takedown, get the back of Bobby Green, ground and pound him a little, control him on the ground, get that half guard position at one point, a little bit of ground and pound, a little bit of ground and pound. Bobby's going to think about giving the back to Paddy, but he doesn't want to be on the highlight reel of Paddy getting submitted. So I think Bobby will survive round number 2 in the grappling exchanges. It'll go into round number 3, the deciding round, and I think Bobby's going to go out there hands down, flipping off Paddy, doing some craziness to the Manchester crowd, and I think he's going to land some good punches on Paddy, where this is where it's going to really be decided on those judges' scorecards, and this is where the argument is going to lie on who really should win the fight, because I think Bobby is going to start off round 3 very, very well, landing some good shots on Paddy, some jabs, some 1-2s, some left hooks as Paddy comes in, and I think, again, just like round 2, Paddy's going to land the takedown. He's going to control it on the ground. He's going to attempt a submission or 2, and he's going to ground and pound a little bit. And it's going to come down to, what do the judges value more? That early few good shots from Bobby that landed pretty good on Paddy Pimblett at the beginning of round 3, or are they going to value the takedowns, the submission attempt, a little bit of ground and pound that I think Paddy will land in round number 3. So it's going to be a close, controversial decision yet again, in my opinion, and I'm going to lean the Paddy Pimblett. And I got him by a 29-28, yet again, split decision in the lightweight division. Tom Aspinall and Curtis Blaydes 2. These odds are insane. My prediction for this fight is going to be Tom Aspinall, and I'll say that immediately. But minus 400 for Tom Aspinall is absolutely ludicrous. Curtis Blaydes is very, very live here. He's very good at landing shots straight down the middle on his opponents. He's got a great jab, a good right hand down the middle as well. And Tom, he's usually hit, or people usually try to hit him with looping shots, and that's why they're not really able to land on Tom Aspinall, because Tom is just such a fast puncher. He's got a lot of speed when it comes to the striking, so no one's able to really land those hooks around the guard of Tom Aspinall. But I do believe Curtis could very well land straights down the middle on Tom Aspinall and have some good success there, landing with the jab and landing with the right down the middle. Curtis also has decent kicks. I mean, it's not anything crazy, but he's got a decent leg kick and body kick game at range and things like that. He doesn't like to go front kick or teep or anything like that. So I do believe it is really going to be Curtis staying at range, moving backwards, going in and out, moving the head like that, and just mixing in straight shots down the middle, mixing in leg kicks, mixing in body kicks. And where I'm having the dilemma here is I just showed you a lot of good things that Curtis Blaydes does in his fights. That if Tom Aspinall is not able to get the knockout, that could be a good recipe for Curtis Blaydes on the feet. And we haven't even mentioned wrestling. Obviously, Tom has to be weary and has to be ready for Curtis to go a double leg or go single leg at any moment in this fight. So again, I laid it out for you how Curtis could possibly win this fight. A lot of his good attributes going in. But again, Tom is very good at countering you as you're landing your combination. We saw Sergey land on Tom, and he was done with his combination, and Tom Aspinall was able to come back right with his flurry onto Sergey Pavlovich and knock him out. So again, Curtis is very good with his jab, his straight down the middle, his leg kicks, his body kicks, but Tom is so much faster than Curtis Blaydes that I think if Curtis does like to do what he likes to do in those straight shots down the middle, Tom is so fast that he could be able to land what I've seen in the film study is that overhand right on Curtis as he's going for the jab, because as he's going for the jab, this whole side of the face is wide open for that overhand. So I do think round one is going to be a feeling out process for Curtis and Tom. I actually don't think Curtis is going to get a takedown in round one. He might attempt one. I don't think there will be a takedown in round one from Curtis Blaydes, and I think in round number two, Curtis is going to get his timing figured out. I think Tom is going to figure out the timing of the jab, the timing of the straight down the middle, and as he's going for the jab, I think Aspinall is going to use a parry and overhand at the same time on Curtis Blaydes. Come right over that jab and land on the chin of Curtis Blaydes. I think we're going to see an overhand right knockout from Tom Aspinall in round number two, and I think he's going to land that one, wobble a little bit, hook, straight down the middle, jab, right hook, left hook, uppercut, straights, whatever. I don't know what combinations he's going to do after he hurts Curtis Blaydes, but I think it'll all happen in round number two. I got Aspinall getting the knockout win in round number two, but I actually think Curtis is so much of a live dog at this position. Minus 400 again is crazy because maybe Tom isn't able to time that jab. Maybe he isn't able to time the right straight down the middle and land on Curtis Blaydes. And again, if he's not able to land that shot over the top of Curtis, and Curtis is able to use his movement and land those straight shots down the middle, mix in takedowns, he could easily win this fight. Very, very close. Could go either way in my opinion. I think it's a finish for Tom Aspinall no matter what, but I think if Curtis wins, it'll have to be a decision. I think it'll have to be him losing 2 rounds and winning 3 and barely scraping a decision here. So very close in my opinion. I'm not gun-ho on Tom Aspinall at all like a lot of people are. I can go down here right now and see 92% are on Aspinall. That's insane, but I am also on Aspinall. I mean, I just think the odds are absolutely ludicrous. Aspinall, round 2, TKO. Leon Edwards and Bilal, remember the name, Muhammad in the welterweight division main event for the belt. This is the 3rd title defense for Leon Edwards, and it is a rematch. He's a little bit above a 2-1 favorite here. Leon is the better kicker. He is going to be taller. He is going to be lengthier. He is going to be younger. He's 32, almost 33, where Bilal just turned 36 a few weeks ago. So I already laid out a few advantages there. Height, reach, length, kicking, jabs, punches, boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai is better than Leon, or Leon is better than Bilal in every facet that I just mentioned to you. And then there comes where Bilal is known to be better. It's very obvious. We know what Bilal is going to try to do. He's going to keep that high guard up, defend the shot of Leon coming down the middle, defend that head kick that we know Leon's going to be trying to throw because it landed last time, and we saw it land very good on Kamaru Usman. So he's got to defend that head kick, he's got to defend the shots coming down the middle, and of course he's got to get Leon's back to the cage, get him there, and just grind. He's going to lose round one no matter what. There's no way, in my opinion, Bilal's winning round number one. It's going to come down to how much can he make Leon work. Can he make Leon remember the name of Bilal, that Bilal can make you tired. Bilal can make you gassed out in those later rounds. We only saw one round of Leon Bilal. One round. Leon looked really, really good. He will look really, really good in round number one yet again here against Bilal. He's going to win no matter what in round number one. But what happens when round two comes and Bilal's found his timing to get in on the takedowns? What happens when round three comes and Bilal is able to get inside easier because Leon's going a little bit slower and Bilal is going even faster than he was in those previous rounds? Bilal is a very, very live dog. I think this one is really going to come down to that kind of round three, round four determination, because I think Leon wins round one very, very easily. I think round two, he'll start feeling it a little bit more, but I think he wins round number two. And I think that round three is really going to be the deciding factor for Bilal to turn the script and finally gas out and make Leon work even more, and not land those punches. Maybe even get a takedown in round three and some ground and pound. It's going to be the deciding point in this fight for Bilal. I just think Leon will hold on. I think his cardio is great. I've never really seen Leon fault under pressure. I think that's the right grammar there. When it comes to those later rounds, he's had a lot of 5-round fights and has looked very good in those later rounds. I know he hasn't had that pressure and volume like Bilal's going to give to him, but I think he'll do good. I think Leon will win those first 3 rounds, and I think Bilal will win round number 4, and then I think Leon will come back and win round number 5. I'm going to go 49-46 decision win for Leon Edwards. I think Bilal will have some success every round. He might land a takedown or two throughout the fight, a few takedowns here and there, and really work that gas tank of Leon. But I think for the most part, I think it's going to come down to when Leon does falter, wilt. I don't know the dang grammar on this one, but I think it's going to come down to when Leon's cardio really gets hit, and he starts to really slow down. And I don't think that's going to happen before 3 rounds. I really, really don't think that's going to happen. So very close one here. I got Leon 49-46 unanimous decision. Those are the full card predictions for UFC 304, Aspinall versus Blades. That's the real main event, ladies and gentlemen. I got Aspinall by TKO in round 2. I got Leon Edwards 49-46, I believe, unanimous decision. I got Paddy Pimblett by split decision. Gregory Rodriguez 29-28 unanimous decision. Arnold Allen 29-28 unanimous decision. Manel Kape 29-28 unanimous or split decision. That's a very, very close fight. Nathaniel Wood, round 2, ground and pound TKO. Molly McCann, really, really close, back and forth split decision. Caolan Loughran, 30-27, 29-28. I think it's going to be very clear for Caolan Loughran to win that fight. But all the rounds should be close, but I think they should be clear for Caolan to win. Mick Parkin, 30-27 unanimous decision. Preston Parsons, either a submission win in those later rounds or Oban's able to survive and he's able to tough it out. So either a late submission from Preston or another unanimous decision. Either way a finish here, but I'm going to go Sam Patterson by submission in round number 2. Very live for Kiefer to get the knockout though. Shauna Bannon by a very, very close 29-28 decision. And then the underdog, Marcin Prachnio, by a 29-28 decision as well. So we're going to look at the betting odds really quick just to say what underdogs I have. I have plus 145 Marcin Prachnio, almost a 2-1 favorite. I have him winning. Let's see. What's another underdog that we have on this card? Manel Kape definitely counts. He was the favorite for a little bit there. Now he is the underdog. Every now and then he becomes the favorite again. but then he comes right back to being an underdog. The odds are just going all over the place for that fight in the flyweight division. So that's 2 underdogs. I got Gregory Rodriguez. He's at plus 120. That's a third underdog. I got Paddy the Batty Pimplet as my number 4 underdog. He's at plus 105 and plus 100 on some other bookies as well. So that's 4 underdogs on this fight card of 14 fights. Make sure to put your predictions down below. Check the pinned comment to see all of my bets for this card. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one, if there is a next one.